What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for a brand new episode here on Military Mondays. We are back on our Yak-1, and today we're going to actually put some glue to plastic and get this thing started. So first of all, I've been looking at my references and been going over the instructions and the parts. Looks like a very nice kit. I think it's going to go together well. However, I do have a couple of concerns about paint, especially the interior colors. Now, I do have an exterior paint set for our black, green, and blue color scheme. Got this Vallejo early war Russian aircraft paint set. I've used this before, works great, no problem with that. We'll have to get some more thinner though, because I'm a little bit short on that. It's the internal colors that are a little bit of some issue. And that's just because I can't find a 100% accurate source that tells me the exact colors. And the instructions aren't necessarily all that helpful. Like for example, right here, it calls out that the majority of the internal colors they call out for H70, which is an RLM 02, which is not really the right color as far as I can tell. Then I've been looking at other things and I'm talking to Joe about this as well. And he said that actually A14 would be a better color, and that's actually a steel gray. I don't want to go out and buy a steel gray paint just for this one particular aircraft, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute that for dark gold gray. That should be just fine. It's close enough. You're not really going to see it. Plus it's going to be weathered down, so it'll darken it slightly. I think we're going to go with our dark gold gray. But anyway, we have to go ahead and build the cockpit before we can actually paint it. So let's jump into our first time lapse and let's start in with cockpit assembly, cleanup, part prime, paint, get that base color on. We're going to be using some Vallejo dark gold gray. We'll just see what happens. So let's get into it, guys. Let's start having some fun. Let's build up our cockpit. All right, everybody, we are back, and so far so good. Everything has been primed, and we've come in with our base coat of dark gold gray, which is very similar to our steel gray. And now we're going to come in, we're going to do some detail painting, and then we're going to add in some of our parts, glue everything together, get over to the fuselage, glue the parts together, fill up some seams, and we'll get this thing rolling. So onwards and upwards, guys, let's jump back in, do our detail painting, get everything glued together, and then look at that fuselage, get this thing ready for next episode. All right, let's jump back in there, guys. We're getting there. All right, everybody, we are back, and so far so good. This is coming together beautifully. I'm absolutely loving the detail. Went ahead and finished up the cockpit. We've got everything glued in place except for the seat and the rear armor plating. And that's just because I want to add in some seat belts. I actually picked up some from eBay, so we'll see how they go. I'll hopefully have them by next episode. So until then, though, I'm going to leave the seat off, and I'm not going to do much more work on it until I get everything kind of squared away. The rest of the cockpit, though, is absolutely beautiful. The amount of detail they were able to get into this kit, I really, really like it. So let's go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when it's more or less put together. My only complaint is there's not really a clear positioning for that cockpit tub. But I think I've got a good idea where it goes, and then we can try next episode to finish off the cockpit and glue it all inside. So let's go ahead and give you guys a look at some details. One thing I will say, though, zooming in, you do notice the seam line in the rear decking. That has to be attended to. Fill that up and paint over it, but I feel like there should be something there. Radio set or wires or something. And I think the 1B does have something there, but I don't know how much will transfer over from the original Yak-1 to the Yak-1 modified. I'm going to do a bit more thinking on it. We'll see when we get there, but so far, otherwise, the detail in this cockpit is fantastic. I love all the switches and the dials. The underside had a little bit of some issue with the seams. I had to go ahead and take off some of the detail, so I've replaced the detail with these white circles. I'll dome them over, make sure that they fit in and contour them, and I nicked the front lip a little bit of the intake. I fixed it, so we're all good. I didn't have to do too much work on the rear seams, so those are good. We can move on to the rest of the aircraft, and yeah, I think it's coming together nicely. I did have one issue with fit when it came to these doors for the rear of the oil cooler and for the radiator. They didn't want to fit where they were supposed to, so I had to trim off the locating tabs to get them to fit up inside the opening. Not a big deal. We got him glued into place. We got it tacked in with super glue, so I'm happy with it. Rest of the cockpit, though, looks fine. I do have to seal this, though, but we'll do that next episode because I want to finish off the seat, get the seatbelts attached, glued into place, and then everything will be overcoated with some flat. Then we'll come in, drop a little bit of gloss on those dials there for the instrument panel, and we'll be good to go. The chair had a little bit of an issue too. I had to fold that back portion up, but we got everything glued in, so I'm happy with it. We just need some seat belts. And the top of the fuselage, the insert here, I did add in 2 gun barrels right there in the front for those machine guns. I don't think it's necessarily accurate. They should be pulled back just a little bit, but it is what it is. This actually drops right down on top of the fuselage without any problem. We have a little bit of a gap right here in the back and a little bit of a step as well from side to side. But again, a couple of swipes of the jeweler files shouldn't be an issue. This should be just fine. I did have a little bit too much glue spill out onto the side of the fuselage, and I did end up coming in and sanding down the areas. But remember, these are very highly textured for these steel ribs that go down through the aircraft. So I had to be real careful when sanding, and I had to go down in between them. It's not perfect, but I think we have enough of a smooth finish. We should be good with some primer. We can move on from there. But like I said, guys, this is a great kit. I'm having so much fun working on this project. Spent a couple hours out here, got everything more or less where you see it now, and really can't complain. I'm having a blast. Hopefully those seatbelts come in and we'll be able to get this thing squared away. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on episode number 2. Join us back here next week for episode 3. We're going to push on, get this yak a little bit closer to being finished. But anyway, guys, you know the drill. Get out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode number 3 for our Academy 1/4-day scale Yak-1. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.